So it's a warm welcome, guys, in my agile coaching training session. Today is day 8, and today's topic is prioritizations. So how to prioritize your work in your day-to-day life, or maybe in your sprints, maybe in your workflow. So I'll provide some sort of information in this. Maybe this information will update a little bit your knowledge. So thank you so much for joining. I am going to start now the session. So our agenda for today's session is what is prioritization and how to do it. What is the value of what is the value versus cost of product, which prioritization techniques are available in the world right now, what is weighted average and Kano method. So basically guys, for prioritization there are lot many techniques available in software world or agile world or even on Google also. But I'm because time is not permitting me to provide you the information about each and every technique, so I have chosen very few and I'll display it here, and I'll provide the information on those techniques. So let's start with our agenda with our first point. What is prioritization to do it? So guys, basically what is mean by priority? Say for example, if I am a client, I had given hundreds of requirement to my product owner, and very soon a special eve is coming. Maybe Christmas, maybe New Year, or maybe some sort of special day is coming in the country, and I want to grab that particular eve. I want to grab that particular opportunity so that I can provide something special, something different to my end customers, to my clients, and by this way maybe I'm trying to grab more and more business, more and more end users. So these things we call priority. Guys, priority may change anytime based on customers requirement or based on market requirement. So this is the reason we called it as a prioritization. Now when prioritization activities are going on, at that time priority is actually divided in four different quadrants. So I'm giving you a example. So there are four different quadrants, like urgent and important, important but not urgent, urgent but not important, not important and not urgent. So when such kind of priorities comes, say for example out of 100 requirements, uh, when product owner meet to client and ask them in which quadrant which requirement you want to fit, because your all 100 requirements are either important, either urgent, either on high priority. So you have to decide and you have to provide us the quadrant wise result for your each and every requirement. Then client and go through all the requirements. If client think that some requirements are not proper, or maybe we do not require that those requirement in near future or maybe in long future also, so maybe client remove those kind of requirements, and client provide the status for each and every requirement in which quadrant that particular requirement is fitted. So the quadrant first, urgent and important, these kind of requirements client targeting to achieve the moment. Say for example eve, Christmas eve, New Year eve, or any sort of birthday of any client or any big person's birthday. To grab such kind of situation and to grab more and more people's, client mostly targeted this particular quadrant for such kind of requirement. Important but not urgent. Yeah. So I have a requirement that the name of my company is correct, but the font is different. The font is not matching with the exact font which we are using while we are writing our company name. This is important but not urgent because it's not stopping somewhere or anywhere my business. So this is the reason I am giving this requirement to my vendor, and I ask them to please change the font of my company name because it's not matching with the actual font. This is an important requirement but not urgent, so you can work it, you can decide it and you can work it. Now, urgent but not important. So few requirements comes to product owner which are urgent but not important. Say for example, maybe color of background of product may be different than whatever client says. So clients ask you, yeah, this requirement is really urgent but not important. So you can delegate it, you can decide when to do it, and you have to change the color of this functionality or change the color of background of this particular functionality so that it will match with our actual requirement or with our exact requirement. Maybe it's a difference of shading. Say for example, T systems use magenta color, but in magenta there are a lot many shades. So if my vendor is using some different shade and actual magenta which T system or Deutsche Telekom is using is different shade, then maybe T system or Deutsche Telekom says, yeah, this is really urgent but not that much important. So you can make changes in the shading and try to fit the appropriate color in our product or in our pages. So by this way, urgent but not important requirements can finalize. Now the requirements which are not important and not urgent. Maybe I am giving a simple example. There is a help file included in my product, and in that help file there are few sentences are mismatch, or maybe spelling mistake is done in few sentences. So this requirement is not really important and not urgent because that's a help file, and out of 100 hardly 10 to 15 people are visited to that help file and read the line by line help file. So this is the reason I provided this requirement to my vendor who has created that help file, and I asked them, you have to make a correction in these sentences or in these words. There are some spelling mistakes, so you have to just make correction in that. This requirement is really not important and not urgent, but this is a requirement. So if you do it, it's good for us. So by this way, we are dividing our each and every requirement segment wise or quadrant wise, and based on that quadrant's requirement, we are doing a action on each and every requirement, guys. So this is a first thing, why prioritization and what we have to do it. Now, next point, what is the value versus cost? Now, if I'm comparing our every requirement which comes from client between traditional methodology and agile methodology. So apart from agile, if I'm saying traditional methodology, maybe it's a waterfall model, V model, spiral model, and so on. So these all are traditional methodologies where we collect the requirement once, we deliver it once, and between collection and delivery, there is a very less communication with client, even very less showcasing or demo with client also. So this is a traditional methodology. In agile methodology, we mostly communicated with client time to time. We are in touch with client on almost alternate week or every week. We provided demos to client and their team members, and by this way we are delivering the requirements. But now when I am gathering the requirements and I am delivering the requirement, at that time how I have to calculate the value or cost. So in agile, basically what we are doing, agile is completely stand based on those 12 principles which are defined in agile, and based on that agile is working. These all 12 principles in each and every agile session, in the beginning, coach has provided these all 12 principles. I am giving few of them here, like communicate with your client time to time, provide the demos to your client with end product, shippable product which is already tested, and after providing this demo, ask your client what your client is thinking about this demo. Are these demo match with their expectations or not? Because those are matching with the requirement, but expectation may be different. So we have to ask them, are these matching with their expectations or not? Are they happy? If they are happy, out of 10, how much rating they are giving us for that particular demo? Second thing, if client provides any sort of changes in between or in the middle of sprint or in the middle of quarter, we welcome those all changes, and we included those changes in our day-to-day work, and we are release those changes in our upcoming few sprints. So these are some sort of basic 12 principles which are available in the agile. Now agile works on that, but when I'm comparing it with traditional methodology, at that time in traditional methodology scope is fixed. When you meet your client and when you gather the requirement, at that time client provide you the requirement with scope. So scope is fixed. Now you have to estimate the time and cost, how much time you require to complete those requirement, and what will be the cost per user or maybe per team. So based on this, we are delivering those all requirements to client. But in agile development, these all the things happen exactly reverse. In agile development, time and cost is already fixed. So client has already provided us that you have this much time and we will pay you per user this much amount, maybe in dollar or maybe in euro. So we will pay you this much amount per user, per resource or per team members, and within this much time frame you have to complete the requirement, and requirements are provided from client. Now it's a job of vendor organization that they have to finalize the scope in first few meetings, discuss that particular scope with your client, and tell them that we identified this scope within this time frame and within this budget, and we will deliver this scope of work within this time frame to you. So be sure for that, and we are agreed with that. Once you done your agreement, once the sign off is done, and after that you started your work. So basically by this way value versus cost is defined, and majorly in a traditional methodology scope is important. uh, Scope is fixed. You have to estimate the time and cost, and in agile methodology time and cost is fixed and you have to estimate the scope. So by this way we calculate values and cost. We'll move our third point, which prioritization techniques are available. So guys, believe me, in market there are lot many prioritization techniques are available. Few techniques are related to agile, few techniques are not related to agile, but we can acquire it in agile development or in agile methodology, because these are similar, or we can use partially or fully these techniques in our entire development. Now what kind of these techniques are? So guys, there are a number of techniques are available in a market in the world, even on Google also, but I had chosen only 6 to 7 techniques here, which I'll provide you the information. First is lean prioritization. This is mostly used in our software industries. Moscow prioritization techniques. uh, if you just choose the word Moscow, guys, this is some sort of Russian word. So this is I think capital of Russia, and this word comes from Russia basically. This is again one of a prioritization technique. This is one of a good technique. Kano model, rice scoring model, I scoring model, weighted scoring by own criteria. So these are 6 techniques which are majorly used in our software industry, guys. And I will provide you the information about these 6 techniques. So first we will see about lean prioritization. So what is lean prioritization? So guys, basically this is a very simple technique. You have to divide the matrix in 2 by 2 format, like you see on my screen. So left side is value and bottom side is cost, and in this 2 by 2 model, you have to provide the quadrants like high, low, low, high, and that wise. Now 2 by 2 matrix of lean prioritization helps in decision making and identifying what is important, or where exactly the risk is, what kind of risk there is available, even some sort of unidentified risk also, and where to direct the effort. This matrix is usually associated with the classic environment, or with the classic Eisenhower matrix. So guys, basically this matrix is used as a prioritization techniques in a development method. Now all you need is to draw a large plus. If you see at the middle of a screen, there is a large dotted plus sign on whiteboard, and mark values and efforts. So one side is value, second side is effort, or maybe we will call it as a cost, along with vertical and horizontal axis, or use any powerful management tool to draw this particular diagram. Now with built-in framework on your matrices. Now this particular uh, this particular prioritization, uh, you must revisit the matrix regularly and rebalance it when necessary. The items deemed to be low value, maybe some months ago, or maybe now on higher values. Now what exactly this? I'm making it very simple. So I have 25 requirements in my backlog. First 5 requirements are on urgent priority. After that 3 requirements are on high priority. After that few requirements are on a middle priority, and rest of the items are on trivial or minor priority. Now after finishing my urgent work, now I am going to start the work on high priority items. But till this time, the items which have the priority major or minor or trivial, within that few items comes in a higher priority, because of time is flying, and now due to time constraint, few items jumped above and come in a higher priority area. Now we have to monitor, or we have to target these items also while we are doing our work. So by this way, guys, you have to always monitor your matrices, or your backlog, and you have to revisit again and again with all the product backlogs and all the product backlog requirements, and you have to find out which things are previously on a lower level or on a trivial level. Are those requirements right now on a major or higher level, or on urgent level, or something like that? So you have to communicate with your clients, or clients business analysts, time to time, to update this product backlog in product backlog list. Okay. Now second is a Moscow priority technique. Now what exactly this Moscow prioritization technique? So guys, as I said, Moscow is a word which comes from Russia. This is the capital of Russia, and prioritization method allows you to categorize your list of requirements, ideas, or features in some sets. Now if I'm going to divide it in some different areas, so maybe I'll dividing it like must have, should have, could have, and won't have. This is the reason, if we just collect the first word of each and every section: must have, I am collecting M; should have, collecting S; could have collecting C and won't have collecting W. This called as a Moscow, and this is the reason the name of this technique goes to Moscow technique. Now what these segments are. So M for must have. In this final solution, this feature must be satisfied and non-negotiable. Your product will fail without them. So when we says or when client says we required something in our production environment or in our requirement, or when you are delivering something, at that time we need these things, or these things must have in your deliverables. So must have means without that you cannot deliver, or you should not be delivered. So in such areas, when you are providing a final solution, these features must be satisfied and non-negotiable, because client has already provided pressure on must have items, and your product will fail without them. So if you are not delivering it, maybe your product will fail. So this is must have. Now what is should have? So these features have high priority but not critical to launch. They occupy second place in your priority list always. So as I showed you on my first screen, there are 4 quadrants. So this is something like that. As this feature is always on high priority but not that much critical or not that much important. So it is urgent but not important, and you have to launch it. So this is the reason it always on second priority. So maybe I'm giving example uh, that after clicking on particular button on production environment, my production environment goes crash. So this is on urgent basis, I have to fix it. Now second requirement is after clicking the button, it provide me the result, and that result comes from database that provided me so and so data on my screen. But this is on secondary level, because if I'm working on this second requirement and I'm releasing it on production, still it won't usable, because after clicking the button my production environment crash. So I have to give the first priority to make sure that production environment will be stable after clicking the button also. And then if I am able to click the button, if the button is clicked, then system will provide me the result. In that it will provide me so and so values which comes from database. So this is my second priority. This is urgent but not that much important. So this is the reason we called it as a should have. Now could have. So under could have, product feature that are desirable but not necessary. So this is something, guys, where we require that product feature, but it's not necessary that it should be there. But if it is there, then it's beneficial for client. So this may be urgent but important but not urgent. So it comes under that quadrant, and we have to release it in that quadrant only. Now W, won't have. Typically this feature will not be implemented in a current release or in an immediate release. However, they may be included in future stages of development when the work pressure or the workload goes increases, and when we had enough breathing time. At that time, mostly development team members focus on this area. Won't have means we, if we deliver it good, if we are not able to deliver it, still fine. So as I given a previous example, there are some sort of mistakes in a few lines which are available in help file, or there are some spelling mistakes which are available in help file. So if development team provide me the solution for that, or if development team provide me a correct file, still fine. If development team doesn't provide me the correct file in immediate release, still file, because help file used by hardly 10 to 15% percentage of users. Rest of the users are either go with the help either go with the line by line activities, or they know how to work with that particular functionality, so they won't use the help files. So likewise guys, this Moscow prioritization technique is used. Now, what is the benefit of these techniques? So, Moscow method helps to rank and classify your product item to get successful result. The method is based on expert opinion of your team. It is easy and quick to complete and define priorities of features that are in progress. So for this, maybe we will use Moscow techniques. Now what is Kano model? So guys, basically Kano model is a very easy and a very good model. If you care about prioritizing customer satisfaction and delight, Kano model is one of the most excellent option in that. Product manager may admit that very often their future backlog seems endless. Say for example, um, there are 100 priorities or 100 working items or 100 requirements in past few months. If I visited the product backlog in past few weeks or before few days, I found that there are thousands of requirements are available. Now thousands of cards are available. So it's an endless journey guys. But they sincerely want to create a product roadmap with right features, because if I'm targeting all 1,000 requirements at a time, then maybe I'm not able to create a roadmap. Maybe I'm not able to start my development. Maybe I'm not able to take a decision from where I have to start, where I have to finish, and on which level I have to make some improvement or changes. I'm not able to rectify these things. So this is the reason always product manager wants to make sure that uh, they have they have a correct roadmap with correct features. Now how to there are few questions also guys when you are working in this Kano model. At that time there are few questions like how to measure the satisfaction, customer satisfaction or client satisfaction. Now how to choose what to build to provide it. So what exactly client need right now, and what exactly I have to provide, and in which manner or which fashion I have to provide it, so that client will happy, client will satisfy, and client will provide more fee to me. So I have to take a decision in this area also, how to go beyond satisfaction into the full delight. So when I am delivering something to my client, at that time my client should say that this is something beyond our expectation and this is something beyond our satisfaction. So when client will say this, so what should I do to achieve or to grab this kind of stages? So this is the reason Kano model is used. Basically, this Kano model is developed by Nariaki Kano, and this method is developed in almost 1980. This basic model is divided in three stages: satisfaction, customer reaction, and customer's feeling. So what exactly satisfaction? So satisfaction means that reflect on client's enjoyment while client is visiting the features, products, and depends on the level of provided in functionality. Whichever levels we had provided in functionality, client is enjoying those each and every level. So it's a kind of satisfaction. Now customer reaction after visiting the demo, after viewing the demo, features can be categorized or depending on how customers reaction to the level of functionality which we had provided in demo. So there we can calculate customer reactions. Now customers feeling, it is about how customer feel about the features after visiting the demo, and if customer have any sort of questions, then maybe customer will ask it in the demo and try to get the answers which may be satisfactory. So this is maybe basic or expected or attractive kind of things. So by this way, customer we can satisfy the customer in nano models, guys, and we can work on nano models. Now, what is RISE scoring? So basically, the meaning of RISE is reach, impact, confidence, and effort. This is based on these four words, guys, which we called as a RISE scoring method. Now, what exactly this RISE scoring method is? RISE scoring system looks like one of the most claim model for product managers needs in current days. And if you first meet the acronyms, then there are some explanations also for RISE model. So I'll provide you that information. So first is reach. So what exactly reach means, what exactly impact, what exactly confidence, and what exactly effort. So reach means reach is about to measuring a number of people events per period. Reach factor is aimed to estimate how many people's each feature or project will affect within a specific period and how many clients will see those particular changes. Say for example, I have 10 clients and I'm working in a product based company. So I have my own product which are used by 10 different clients, and now if I am making some sort of changes in that particular product, then which client sees those particular changes and which client doesn't see those particular changes. Again, I am giving some sort of limitations how much changes that particular client will see. Does that particular client see the 100% changes? Does that particular client see 80% or 50% changes or something like that? So this is we called as a reach. So where exactly client is reaching or where exactly I am giving permission to my client to reach. Now second is impact. Impact shows what contribution does the feature gives into the product. Value is definitely understood in every particular product, like business to business or SaaS products or any other features get high value. So these all areas are impacted after making some sort of changes. Even we improve the trial to paid conversation, help to attract new user, assist in keeping current user. I am giving a simple example. I am a mobile company owner. I have my own SIM cards with own networks, and now I am launching something with my SIM cards, which will be a launch offer for new customers. So if new customer approach me and purchase my SIM card and use my SIM card, then maybe I am giving those particular features as a free for new customer. Now what about the existing customer? So that particular feature is already added in existing customers account, so they can use it anyway, and giving the same thing to new customers also. Say for example, Netflix subscription or Disney Hotstar subscription. So these are some sort of uh, uh, product which are available on internet, which runs the web series and films. And if you take a particular account from this different client, then maybe you can watch their web series, their different dramas or films or other areas. So by this way I am trying to make an impact and trying to grab more and more clients. Now confidence can be measured with the percentage scale. If you think a project could have a huge impact but don't have data to back it up, then certainly let you control that. Say for example, after delivering something in production environment, it changes the flow of production, or it may changes the graphics of production environment. Now new graphics will appear where end customer have to deal it. Now, if I'm going from customer point of view, if I'm a customer and if I'm using the same data or same flow or same graphics from past few years, and if new graphics is arrived, maybe I'll deal with them, I'll interact with that particular graphics and I'll work with them, or maybe I'll drop it. I just say, yeah, this new graphics is too tedious, I'm not able to understand from where I have to go where. So these both the situations may happens, and this is the reason company always trying to provide a confidence to their end user that after making changes in graphics, maybe in a in a production flow, you can still reach those areas where you reached yesterday also with our previous or old functionality or old graphics. So this confidence company always gives to their end customers. Now efforts. Efforts are something like estimate a total amount of time a feature will require from all team members to move quickly and have an impact with uh, with at least the amount of effort. Now effort factor is estimated as a number of persons per month, weeks or hours, and depending upon needs, what exactly the need is. So it is the work that one team can do in a specific month, and for this particular formula is used here, which you can see on screen. uh, R into I into C divided by E equal to rise score. So once you got this rise score, you may got the exact effort of your estimations or your prioritization techniques, guys. Now next is I score model. So what exactly this I score model? So this is again same like RISE. So impact, confidence and ease, which we called as the I score model. I score model allow to get things done and prioritize your product feature without extra requirement. So within the requirement, you can complete your feature and you can release it to client's environment. Now, how to work it? So as usual, impact shows you have uh, how much you hypothesis your work, which affect the key metrics you are trying to improve. Confidence is about how you are sure about all your estimations, both about impact and efforts. Ease shows that ease is demonstrating the easiness of implementation. It is an estimation of how much effort and resource are required to implement this particular idea. So if I am giving a rating uh, between 1 to 10, so in 1 to 10, as not to overweight any of them, or choose 1 to 10 means long the rating stay consistent. So here the crucial goal of I scoring is to prevent you from being bogged down in trying to fine tune the score too much. The prioritization approach is good enough to get the job done. So this is the only area which ICE can done, or using ICE technique you can done. Now last technique is weight scoring by area. So what is weight scoring by own criteria, guys? So this is an advanced approach for prioritization, assist to decide objectively what features and product ideas perform next. A scoring system is convenient and low cost way to determine the relative value of any number of things. Turn these scorings to advanced level. uh, this particular criteria is divided in four different segments, like acquiring new clients, retaining current clients, increasing income, adding values, and so on. So by this way, guys, weighted and scoring by criteria is also prioritization criteria by which you can analyze your client, their requirements, their improvements, new business, and adding values even from budget side, financial side also. And do we really require to retain this particular client in future also? So we can finalize these things. So guys, these are the prioritization techniques which I explain you today. If you guys have any query, any question, you can ask me. Anyone have any question, any queries? Guys, I know yesterday's and today's topic is a bit heavy um, to understand, but I'm sure if you have any queries, any questions, I am uploading today's session also on YAM event where you find the link of WebEx. So I'm uploading this video on YAM event as well as YAM Tube also. You can revisit this video. If you have any doubts, any questions, you can write to me by mail and I'll explain it. But still, I'm asking the same question in different language. Are you guys understand? Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So I have a real example, but not from T Systems. I have a real example from few of my previous organizations. Like one of my organization, which are insurance-based company. We have an insurance product, big insurance product, and we are working for workers' compensation, which is a US a big insurance company which provide the insurance to all employees. And we use these both the techniques while working with that product, because we have lot many clients who use our particular product or our software while they are providing insurance to any organization or to any employees. At that time they use we use such kind of techniques because few of our clients required few things in insurance. Say for example, few of clients required only insurance, few of clients required only claim section, few of clients required only the calculations, what exactly the calculations goes behind. So based on their requirement, whatever changes we done and we applied on an entire product, we provided them a priority, like which clients visit how much visit our product and how much new implemented feature can see it or can use it, and which client have full authority that they can visit our product on website and they can see what exactly the new things implemented in our production environment and how those things are used while they are providing insurance, from insurance to claim, how the processes goes and what new things we are applied from calculation point of view, from providing insurance point of view, fraud insurance point of view, fraud claim point of view, claim settlement point of view, likewise. I hope I satisfied your question. Okay, it Mm-hmm.
And basically based on this, we can try to use each and every single estimation model. Then, yeah, for calculating maybe the cost or the time or I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I can just add to Uwe's question. So, out of your experience, in terms of when you are not sure, it's a new client, you don't know what is the client wishing or what do they prefer more, quality or speed or in terms of measurements, and you are not sure which model to apply, then to start with, what would be the most easy or let's say a default model of estimation or prioritization which you can use for the first time and then evolve maybe later? What would be your recommendation out of your experience? When we are not confident which model to use, then this will be a default model which we can start with at least and then improvise maybe later.
Okay. So is this question for me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So I may say that you can go with the lean prioritization 2 by 2 matrix because your client is completely new and you don't know how to deal with your client and you want to add the prioritization. So first, if you visited my previous sessions, I already provided the information like you have to do the research. You have to find the exact persona of your client, like what exactly your client is, in which area your client is doing business, who is the end customer of your client, what kind of mentality those customer have. Based on this entire information, you can at least judge that where exactly your client is fitted. After that, when your client provides you the requirement at that time, after doing all this research and analysis and all the data, after that maybe you can start initially with 2 by 2 matrix lean prioritization, which is very simple. Just you need to divide all the requirements in four quadrant based on client's communication, like what is urgent, what is important, and where when exactly you need it. If you just got this information from client that these first 10 requirement we required on urgent basis, maybe within next 2 months, and rest of 30 requirements we required after that. So based on this information also you can divide the requirements in four segment or in four quadrant. You can fit it and you can start your work later on. When once you started dealing with your client, once you started communicating with your client, after that maybe you can improvise your prioritization technique. Maybe you can use some different techniques which is a really good technique or which is fitted for that particular client, and you can continue with that techniques. I hope I given the answer.
If you start with some techniques and change these techniques during this sprint or somewhere in this project, then you will get completely other results. And then the ordering is changed. And that means you started with things which has a lower order by method and then started in the wrong way.
No, because when you meet a client first time, which background you don't have, so at that time to deal with that client is already a risk, because we are putting effort, we are investing our team members, we are investing time frame, we are investing technology and everything, and we are delivering something. So this may be a pilot project which we call, and after delivering pilot project, we ask client for further business, but till completing the pilot project, it's a completely risk for us. Client will say yes or no after pilot project. This is the first risk. Second risk, if client say yes, do we have the entire background about client, what exactly their business is, where exactly this is fitted, what exactly client's production environment, how many products client is running right now, who is their end users, and so on. There are a lot many questions. So this is risk, and this is already identified when you are prioritizing or when you are doing a planning, and these things even your management also know. So when you put this point in front of your management, at that time your management will also agree and gives you some time to make it easy and simpler and make it under control. Once the pilot project is done, once you get the entire information about client, and once client say yes and you decided now we have to work on this with this client in future also on their future requirement, at that time you can try to fit a perfect technology or in a or a perfect prioritization technique. Till the time in a pilot project you can use any techniques whichever you think is easy for me. I'm not forcing to use 2 by 2 matrix, but I'm saying whichever techniques, whichever priority techniques you think is easy for me, you can apply it. We never work on any pilot project more than I guess 3 to 4 months. Within 3 to 4 months, we have to release the pilot project to our client, and based on that project or based on that pilot output, client provided their decision yes or no format. So am I satisfy your question? Yeah. Any other query, any other question, guys? Guys, I know this is really heavy topics, prioritization and estimations. These are really heavy topics to understand. But I am pretty sure if you revisit the video, you will understand it well. And whatever queries, question you have, you can write to me. I'll answer those queries and question in detail, so that it will resolve your all confusions and questions, and it will make it clear for you. Any query, any question, guys? No, no queries, no questions. Okay, so guys, we will meet tomorrow. In tomorrow's session, I will provide you the information or some sort of technique about product review and demo. So how to review the product and how to provide an impressive demo to your client, so that in a first visit or in a first demo, client will fall in love with you guys. So these are tomorrow's topic. We will meet tomorrow, same time, same place, guys. Till the time, stay safe and thank you so much. Bye.